Halal Tecumseh had under his command some 2,000 Indian warriors representing 17 allied northern tribes. He led them at Frenchtown, the Raisin, Fort Meigs, and Fort Stevenson, and covered Proctor's retreat after Perry's decisive victory on Lake Erie until he finally declined to retreat further and compelled Proctor to make a stand. Tecumseh made them stand on it, man. He said, y'all gonna have to stand on this because we ain't giving up no more land. He compelled Proctor. Remember that word compel. We're going to come back to that word compel. He compelled Proctor to make a stand on the River Thames. Shout out to my Nagas in the comments who said, my Naga said, Thames might be Thomas, like St. Thomas flow, like Tao. Because remember, we got a whole drop talking about Love the Dizzle Fit. He connecting the Thomas Tao flow. And when you think Tao, you think Estebanico. And remember Estebanico as Amore. We're going to come back to him too. This is Prester John 126, my nigga. And we got to bring it on home for Prester John. Can't be just talking about mythical mirrors and magical stones and dragons. Yeah, that's the, kind of fun, fuzzy part. Yeah, it's good to have all your powers. It's good to have your things. It's good to be the head and not the tail. But my Naga, HaWah said, when you realize the truth, we're going to come back weeping, man. And that means you got to bring it home to the indigenous truth, to the Americana Holocaust. This is our family. You're going to feel the bodies, as we read about these wars and these treaties and these, what I mean? You're going to feel the pain. You're going to feel what they was fighting for. You're going to feel what Tecumseh is making a stand for. He's making them stand on it. This is Tecumseh's last stand, man. He tried his best to tribe them up. Near the present-day Chatham, Ontario, where he, with many of his warriors, were killed on October 5th, 1813. So they want to have a Columbus Day, or Indigenous People Day, man. I mean, October 5th is where we should have a National Naga Day. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to put that out there. Naga's like turning up, and we could praise HaWah and remember Tecumseh, you know what I mean? Because this is where Naga made his last stand. Y'all think about it. Y'all let me know how that sounds, man. Maybe we could just, go live and, remember, the journey, man. Reminisce, The remaining northern Indians immediately deserted the British army. And they brought the Brits in as a last hope to fight against this corporation that's in charge now. You know what I mean? That just wanted everything. They wanted everything. And there were a lot of us in the UK and all that, so it's very clear that Tecumseh was dealing with people he trusted. And I believe he was dealing with his own family in Europe, you know what I'm saying, when you understand the royal ties, Kalelus. So check it. Charles A. Goodrich in his history says of Tecumseh, he was in several respects the most celebrated Indian warrior which ever raised an arm against the Americans, against the hijackers. They can't take our American title. Copper-colored races found here can't be them. Con. This was their greatest op. That's why they don't want to talk about it. And not a lot of so-called, native people even really claim Tecumseh like that. You know what I'm saying? Or speak of him like that. Some do, Some say, yeah, I'm the great niece of Tecumseh. Okay. We know we're talking Hebrews. So I'm not here to try to figure you out. I'm here to make us all keep the code, compel us to keep the code. Remember that word compel. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. So over there at that river Thomas, that river Tau, where X marks the spot, Tecumseh, had his last stand, right? So even his ops had to respect him. You know how it is if you're in the streets today. I hear this a lot about the Khan King Von, rest in power, you know what I'm saying? Rise in power. I'm like, yo, they respected King Von on both sides. Some got hate in their heart, but the real ones have to give it up and say, nah, I mean, he was a real one. That's what we can say. And then, yeah, they might say, oh, okay, here's some slander here. They could try to, take away the sadly, the greatness of his legacy, which revolved around, you know, demon time, right? So, but imagine if it wasn't demon time. Imagine if King Von was leading the tribe of Nagas against the hijack. Even the hijack would have to respect him if he is who I'm hearing he is. Fearless, right? But instead of the op being ourselves, now we see what it is. Oh, I can't get no real fruit. Oh, you ain't gonna tell me what you spraying in my skies? All my waters chapped up. Con Yosef, take the wheel. I gotta spend all my time making paper to be in this system. Then you take that away. Now I gotta get a chip. I gotta get some type of nano something. I gotta get hit up with this tenderoni. You don't think they're at war anymore? Did they just get smart about this more and more war? You don't think they still behind the scenes, man? You don't think it's still tribal? You think it stopped being tribal? When did it stop being tribal? Show me in history when it stopped being tribal. I want to see this battle that ended all tribes. These people still tribal. They know who they are. It's you who's just waking up. It's you who, forgot recently. For recently, because in the 1700s, it looks like you still knew who you are. 1800s, you were still fighting. You still knew who you are. Recent amnesia. Ruach Tardima. Hawaii didn't have a sleep that long, man. 1900s, but still it was all kind of movements, right? Civil rights and Panthers, right? And yada yada. And then all the gangs and the gangbanging really came right out the Panther flow, because the militants was now, at first it was guided, then it became misguided. You know what it is. So that goes for every hood, just like Chicago, right? Just like everybody. They took the main Nagas, the main priest cons that could unite, and they took them off their chessboard of black and white. Would you say, Drop? I said they took our main priest cons that could unite off the chessboard that's black and white. Because black is white and white is black. The creation of opposites slays the dragon. So they had to respect Tecumseh, man. He is the most celebrated Indian Naga warrior that ever raised up against the hijack. Facts. Factoids. He had been in almost every engagement with the so-called whites, because we're not talking skin complexion. Don't fall back in the matrix. We're not talking that. I'm talking black people that still go under the white status title. And then the so-called whites of today as straw men being used, so they can kind of get it, get low. They get low, and now you think the op is these other people, which are ops because they even worse. Like they got no morals, right? But HaWah said, I'm gonna bring the worst of your enemies, man. They ain't gonna have no respect for the old. They ain't gonna have no respect for the young. Yeah, that's these, yeah, right? But behind the scenes, they got a master, man, who still is white, but not WHITE, WIGHT. Yeah, the English forked tongue goes both ways. Just like the White Walkers in Game of Thrones. Because we know we got an ice wall, so, some type of wall, right? So look, man, these are two whites of the same chessboard. Black and white. It's the same. Because, you know, they rock together. The Treaties of Peace and Friendship, that's not the first time they rocking together. They rocking together, man. Go recon Yakub, the big-headed scientist. Like, creation. Not our creation, but some of their creation. But I don't want to get too deep on the whites. But there is an island of whites. But let's go, man. So Tecumseh was on the front lines on almost every engagement with the so-called whites. Since Harmer's defeat, although at death, he scarcely exceeded 40 years of age. 41, 42. Tecumseh had received the stamp of greatness from the hand of nature. What? Don't make me go in a dictionary, 1828 dictionary. In nature, they're going to say of the creator. So why not say the hand of the creator, right? Because these people are anti-nature. They're anti-HaWah. So in other words, Tecumseh was stamped of the greatness of HaWah. And had his lot been cast in a different state of society, he would have one of the most most distinguished of men. No matter if he was, playing on their side, he would have been one of the most distinguished, men of all time. But he wouldn't have been a man if he let his tribe get, it's hard to even say because this is what happened, man. Like we know we speaking truth. We in the fifth wave, man. He wouldn't be a man if he sat back and let his tribe get, you know, uh, destroyed. So he wanted to be a real knock. And HaWah said there's a remnant, right? Most Nagas today, most black people today, don't necessarily fall under this side of the war on Tecumseh's side. Most black people, so-called, you see today, are descendants of a lot of different tribes. And most of these tribes were down with the treaties one way or another. That's why there's so much black on black, you know, back and forth, because it's like an ancient war that we're just repeating. Like, we don't trust each other because we know that all skin folk ain't kin folk, right? And all kin folk ain't con folk. So there's a lack of trust because there's never been black unity. Not when we're dealing with, Charles V and them coming up on us here. Like, not when we're dealing with Esteban Zamora. I told you I'll come back to Esteban. Okay. Zamora, who's like the first, they say, African, someone in Africa or Morocco as Zamora, right? From Morocco. And he leads the hijack right into the heartland of Hawaku, New Mexico. And there he dies, a martyr, because them Nagas there wasn't believing his story. And he kept trying to get all the women, and he kept trying to steal all the turquoises, and he brought them weapons of death. So they put him to death, and he became a martyr. Esteban became Saint Stephen in the Christianity. The first Christian martyr is Esteban as a Moray. Naga, just tell me, you think it's play? Just tell me, man. It's okay. It's okay. Right after Columbus got here, they went to the heartland of New Mexico, right? Arizona, the Grand Canyon. He brought all the, look at all the hijacks with him. He brought all the hijacks with him. And they try to make a story like he was some slave and this. Nah, man. Not from Morocco, you ain't. No, no, no. Not with all these treaties, bro. Y'all can't have it both ways. Can't have it both ways. You can't even put each other in slavery. What are you talking about? You can't say you running things and then say you ain't running things. It's like when it's convenient, they want to say these bronies back here was running things. But then they want to act like they was just emperors and kings and queens. Like, nah, man. Which one is it? I believe you when you say you a king. I believe you when you say you Holy Roman Emperor Charles. I believe you. So I'm going to assume you're still in power one way or another. Maybe he stole the fountain of youth or something. Still walking around looking like he's 32. Estebanico. Yeah, man. He was a brother. And if you see him today, you wouldn't say, oh, you're an African. No, no, no. You would think he's from Chicago, Detroit, you know what I mean? Uh, New Mexico. His name is Mustafa. His name is Black Stephen. Stephen the Mole. Tell me if you think it's play. If you don't think it's play, leave in the comment section. No play. Just put no play. I appreciate y'all. That lets me know you surfing the wave with me, because I'm surfing the wave with you. I mean, was this why Mustafa and the Lion King was named Mustafa? Them in Hollywood paying tribute to their Black Stephen the Christ? Because Christ means anointed. Clearly, he was anointed. In the cartoon, they call him the child of the sun. The sun only comes out when he calls it. Yeah, he's the sun god. Their Christ is Stephen, my nigga. Yeah, this is your God. This is Yahushua. Look at him, man. He got a beard and everything. This is Yahushua. You wanted to find Yahushua. This is your Yahushua. This is your Jesus. This is it. If he's real, this is him. He's the sacrifice. He got martyred. He led you to the promised land, right? Because we keep saying JC never fought no war in the New Testament. JC never led nobody to no promised land. But then you don't know who they talking about. Stephen did. Stephen did. Stephen did. He led him to the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon. He led him to Florida, Alabama, which is really important as we talk to Kumse. Really important. Mississippi, right? Mississippi River, the Nahal, Great River, right? Louisiana, Texas, Arizona, right? Mexico, man. He led him to the promised land. He's way more important than Columbus. We gotta dodge the hijack with the timelines, because then you got St. Stephen in the timeline going back like 200 AD or something, wherever it goes back and connects to St. Christopher, this dog-headed man who, in his story, he leads a Christ child across this river or this ocean, right, like Columbus. And the child blesses him, and says, yeah, I'm the Christ child, and he gives him a blessing and takes away his dog-headedness. So how many dog heads are walking around without dog heads because of St. Stephen? If St. Stephen can remove their dog-headedness, he's their Christ, man. He's their anointed. I'm standing on this, man. He removed their dog heads, man. The truth is stranger than fiction. St. Christopher is Christopher Columbus, who probably carried old young Esteban, just like in the cartoon, across the ocean. And then he popped off and started doing his thing. Led him to the promised land. Looks like a play they running. He's an African, right? He's a slave. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. He was among the only four survivors and of about 600 men that went on a Spanish conquistador expedition. So he's a conquistador. You dig? Landed in Florida. They were looking for the fountain of youth. Love to Chef Candy, man. She read this. Oh man, it was a whole journey of Coronado. Yeah, man. That's gonna give you all the drop. Just recount the journey of Coronado. Coronado Expeditions, I think it's called. All right. He is widely believed to be the first African. I just wanted to get this through your mind bone. Widely believed to be the first African to have reached the continent, the good old USA. Azamor, Morocco. That's his name. And he's a slave. Okay, okay. At the same time that King Charles is, black ass Charles is popping off. Wait, you got a black Roman emperor at the same time that this Moor is supposed to be a slave that leads you to the promised land, and he's the child of the sun. Come on, man. So the child of the sun is a slave. Come on, come on, come on, brother. Bully Slayer, take the wheel. Come on, brother. You want us to believe this malarkey, man? Nah, I think he came on a special mission. Yeah, I think this. He's doing miracles and everything. He's changing their dog heads, into regular heads for a time, kind of like a Cinderella thing, you know. All right, you can read. We'll get back to it. But he's Esteban the Moroccan. At the same time, they're popping off their Morocco treaties of pieces of friendship between the U.S. and Arab and African Muslim nations. At the same damn time, right? 1776, 1777. Official in 1785. Right in the heartbone of the Chickamauga War. They do all this teaming up at the same time as them. Was they migrating? Ismael's migrating, right? At the same damn time. And then they join the Kentuckians, who are the ones that killed Tecumseh. Shalak killed Tecumseh. So I don't want to be no false witness, but one can surmise that Tecumseh could have been killed by an Ishmaelite who's fighting side by side with the Kentuckians. Kentuckians, right? In the Battle of Thames or Thomas or Tau, where Tecumseh fought. And they said that was in Ontario. But before that, what led to that was this battle right here of Tippecanoe, where Tecumseh's brother was killed, the prophet, right? Halal HaWah. I want to talk about Push, a little more about Push, man. We're going to get back into Push. All right, let's go. Hey, we still got the fire burning, man. All right, take a breath. We're going to get into it. That was just the intro. Let the hijack roll. Let the hijack roll. Oh, yeah, you want to burn money now after taking all the gold The gold standard government, you know what I mean? Now you want to burn money? Let's just get our fireplace going. Let's take a breath, my cons. Take a breath. Take a breath, my cons. Take a breath. Take a breath, my cons. Take a breath. I like to take this moment to remind you to breathe throughout your day. We take such shallow breaths. In order to breathe, you have to empty out all that extra air that's not really doing nothing in your lungs. So always, you know, it feels reversed, but try to give yourself a deep exhale. Sometimes you can do like a dragon breath, like, and breathe out all that air and then take a deep breath. Now you got 100% breathing capacity. Now you surfing away. Because with the breath, the fire is started. The fire is ignited. And I know I got some fire starters out there in Drop Nation that know how to start a fire and they keep the fire burning, man, in real time. I just want to give you a to all my fire starters, real time, man. Y'all mind if I adjust my fireplace just a little bit because it looked like my log might be kind of hanging to the left a little bit. Hold on, man, let me get my, okay, here we go. There we go. Okay. Fire is popping. We up. We are up. You're like, Drop is crazy, man. Yeah, I'm crazy, man. So are you, man. All right? You would be crazy too if they told you that you was on a spinning ball. Right? You'd be crazy too if you didn't know about all these gateways, man. If you thought this was all the land HaWah created and that these were just planets, come on, you'd be crazy too. And it gets a perspective of what the Kumse's fighting for. It's bigger than just one place. He's fighting for the code. He's fighting, what I'm saying, for their existence. And if we look back now, he was fighting for a reason, right? No one, even the hijack, can't say he wasn't fighting for a reason. They can't say he wasn't fighting for a reason, that he was wrong. And if you fight back, my naga, they can't say you wrong for not wanting to be in chains no more, for wanting to remove the yoke from off your neck, your family's neck. It's just a matter of how you fight. You can't fight without your breath. Your breath is wow. So you got to keep the code. It's the only, you can't bypass the code, my naga. And then say, I want to go to war in the streets. They got martial law. We already know it's popping. They got third, fourth waves of tenderoni coming. We know it's popping. It's going to be hard to go grocery shopping. We got to get our land secure. The water my nagas for your heartbone and supporting Joy World. Choose Up Village. And we support you, man. Nagaville. All my cons that got land, Nagaville, because that's what it is. We need breath first to do anything, to throw a punch, throw a kick, to run from here to there. You need breath. It's order to go back home to HaWah to get your frequency and keep your frequency. You can get it, but will you keep it? I can give it to you, but what you gonna do with it? I can give it to you, but what you gonna do is what HaWah's telling you. But what? That's right, man. I'm having fun. You know what I mean? I'm just letting it flow. Letting it flow, man. As long as we got our fire burning. Let's keep our fire burning. Yeah, there we go. Let's keep our fire burning. And let's figure some stuff out. Okay? All right. Oh, man, so much good. All right. We got some good drops. So, Prester 126. We're taking it back home, man. Wow. Okay. Just checking us out. All right. So before you really, not even before you talk this treaty, because there's so many treaties in the 1800s because of this treaty. And this is what these other chiefs were hiding behind. They were hoping to preserve their tribe by hiding behind honesty, thinking that these hijacks was gonna be honest with them, right? That's the good way of saying it. The bad way and the more hurtful way of saying it is they did this shit on purpose. That hurts though. That's a pain you gotta deal with because we gotta get through it together. It's trauma. We're going through trauma because our own, not just foreign tribes, but tribes that people we know, right? We know the Creeks. We know the Choctaw and the Chickasaw. We know the Seminole. We know each other. So for us to be fighting against each other, man, that's why we're doing it today. So simply, so easy, without conscious. Because we did it before. We've been doing it for a long time. What black unity has ever existed? Black unity? When? Show me this time period of black unity. I'll wait. So they got us wanting to do something that's never happened ever before, ever. Since Cain and Abel, right? I don't think that's realistic. I think what's realistic is us tribing up and keeping the code. If the tribe, if the code is in you, then you tribe up. If it's not, then that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? But black unity don't exist. Tribal unity does. The unity of Israel is the whole purpose of the entire Bible. Even the New Testament got revelations and 12 gates with 12 tribes going through it. The tribes matter even in the hijack playbook, right? So the tribes matter forever. The one thing you could depend on and count on in this crazy world and this investigation is that the tribes matter. Tribal matters. That's the only true lens to look out of, to see clearly through is your tribe. And it doesn't mean, oh, prove to me you a Chickamauga Cherokee. Nah. We don't got to do none of that. But we'll prove to you that the tribe matters. Whether I can prove I'm this or I'm that, I could be Chickasaw, I could be Choctaw, I could be Miami, I could be Lenape, right? I could be all these things. So I'm not going to do it. I can't base my foundation on an assumption of who I am and some genealogies, okay? What I can do is stand on truth and stand on the code and know that regardless of what tribe you're from, you at least have a chance, my nigga, of salvation by frequencying up, by raising your vibration. And I can't think of no other order, since order is what you need, because chaos is what you currently live in. They want to create order out of chaos, right? We need order. It's our 9 code. That's not me making up stuff. That's what's there. What's been ignored. What we went through in detail last drop and many drops before. Exodus 20 got us in code. No power before power. That's the flow. And I believe whether you Choctaw, Chickasaw, Chickamauga, this or that, if you in code, my nigga, you give your family a chance. You give your tribe a chance. You get the tribe up without even meeting anybody, because in the code, we are tribed up. I don't do too much meeting stuff because they watching everything we do. And that's cool, yeah, whatever. But I go with the flow. And my niggas that's been rocking from the top, they already know. You know, when we up, we up. When we moving, we moving. You know what I'm saying? They got ultimate faith and trust, man, and the wave as we surfing it. They know we about coding up. And that's all. I don't need to investigate your background and who you are. You know, the code, the energy, the frequency is very difficult to hide in it. You're talking about hiding in Ama. You know what I mean? Ama's gonna expose you. You're gonna look silly. So I don't worry about it. But we move with wisdom, with Ama. We're not on the internet doing this. We're not on the phone doing a bunch of that. Ask my noggins when's the last time we had some phone conference, phone meeting of dropping these. Man, it's too hot out here. You know, what we got to do is keep the cold. And when it's time to move, we know it's time to move. When it's time to, surf the wave and frequency up, we've developed a trust in each other without a whole lot of traceable contact like that. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to keep the waters flowing because we see what we up against. You want us to tribe up and ignore what we're up against? COINTELPRO, Black Panther, you want us to ignore history and start having some public meetings and say, hey, everybody, meet us on 12th Street. Here's my land. Here's the coordinates. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, brother. You got to respect the fact that we respect privacy. Silence. Silence is power. So I don't do a lot of talk. Only when I'm talking to you. Popping off. But I appreciate y'all and for understanding me, this, us. And if you're just here to get some drop, hey, hop to you too. Hey, get a seat in the back of the class, man. If you're here to spread the wave and surf the wave, pull up a seat in the front, man. Let's frequency up together. Because they are tribed up against us, right? Psalms 83 Confederacy. They're confederate against us. Treaties. Part of you wants to block this out because it hurts. I challenge you to feel the pain. Because HaWah said we're going to come back weeping. And as I read a little bit about these treaties, and I'm only going to do some brief searches, and you can go with the rest. I want you to feel this shit. I want you to feel this land being stolen right from under your feet, your family's feet, your children's feet. I want you to imagine what life would be like if you had all this land. If you took a stand together, you'll be in paradise, man. You'll be eating real fruit, man. No chemtrails, man. No tenderoni. No sickness. Let's go. Treaty of Fort Stanwix was a treaty finalized October 22nd, 1784. Damn. I'm sorry, y'all, man. I'm just saying, man. Wow. 1784. Damn. Yo, this migration they taking lasted over 120 years. Because it kept getting better and better. Like anybody that's getting smiley wop, you think they'll be migrating for 100 years? I'll wait. I'm going to stop and wait. I'm coming right back to the treaty. As long, as we still got our fiber. Okay. It's too much. It's too much. You think they'll be migrating during a war that they are losing? I'll wait. I don't want to bear no false witness on nobody. But I will say it was a little ice age, which I don't think is so low, you know. Yeah, still got it. Still got it, brother. Would you be migrating into an ice age if you were Ishmaelites? because the Ice Age took place during European colonization of the Americas and Ishmael's migration. So European colonization took place at the same time as Ishmael's migration. This is crazy. This is crazy talk. Should we ignore it? It was one of the coldest periods in the last 1,000 years. Drought was also a problem. You think Ishmael would be migrating into the coldest time period in over 1,000 years in a drought if it wasn't for the promised land? Like, if it wasn't for a military mission, man, you think they would just be doing that for fun? Maybe they caused the drought on purpose. You know, you think this was like some type of weapon, this sacred mountain thing? You remember there were several causes that have been proposed, which means they don't know, Manak. This is a hypothesis. This is an educated guess. Start at the back because that's when the good stuff happens, right? Decreases in human population. Shall I? Decreases in human population, which means killing Nagas in America, such as from the Black Death and epidemics. Do you see a play? Do you see a play of infectious disease? YouTube. Gotta tread around here. I gotta tread. But we're gonna have all this. Soon we'll be coming straight from 432thedrop.com. Be patient with us as we rebuild our website for the third time, securely this time, for real. And hey, out to my IT nuts. But while we're forced into this YouTube flow communication, I gotta tread. But you know what time it is because the play is the same. They don't care who they affect as long as they get their target. Who's the target? The Americans, the real ones. It's been their target. They're saying that the possible cause that has been proposed for the coldest time period over 1,000 years, which I think is the big ice age, not the little ice age. It is just so recent. Antarctica's freezing. Is that so many Nagas were killed by this invasion and epidemics being spread purposely in the Americas upon European contact. So they don't want us to talk about this. All I can say is that it's been the play. We can at least look at history on YouTube. Can we still do that? I'm not talking about nothing current. This has nothing to do with no permanent my disclaimer. This has nothing to do with nothing happening currently. We're just talking about the past and previous history. And in past previous history, this is the play. And so many of us were killed, not because of war, but because of, past previous history plays they run it. Decreases in human population cause the coldest time period, my night. And there were waves of this, which kind of makes it seem like some high-tech weapon they did from Atlantis. Maybe some type of harmonic mountain pyramid thing, cube thing, 1650, coldest intervals. 1770, We're going to go back to the treaty, 1850. And during these times, as we think about our Chickamauga Nagas, 1770s, we're right here. We had to Tecumseh had to tribe up. The Chickamauga had to do this. They getting high-tech energy depleted, right? Their sun was probably being blocked. That's why in the cartoon, Esteban and them didn't have no sun. It was the coldest time period. It wasn't hot. It was freezing cold. When these wars were happening, it was freezing cold. (1770), 1650. They were suffering for almost 100 years before this particular war popped off. And please don't think this is when it all started. Oh no. The more war happened way before that. We've been in it, man, with tribal war, right? We've been in it. Back to the treaties, man. 1777, right? Ice Age, right? 1785, the U.S. authorizes negotiations for a treaty with Morocco. Morocco, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, no, this was a different Morocco. These were dirty Morocco. This is clean Morocco. If this was Israel, we'll say, yeah, that was Israel, and we got to take accountability for them hijacks in Israel. We had evil, wicked kings and queens, just like we had good kings and queens, right? We had evil Presters that weren't real Presters, like Genghis Khan tried to steal that title, right? Khan. So you got to claim this. This is your treaty. This is you, Morocco. Stop, you know? It's only one way we're going to get over this is we got to talk truth, man. You can't keep hiding, acting like this ain't you, right? Moorish Science Temple, right? Old African American town, sure. And it's a formula for this holy mountain, supposedly contained in the odd dimensions of the so-called cube. Monagas, what does it mean? Built by Abraham and Ismael. Morocco, you got to be Morocco, and you got to stand on being Morocco. If this is you, Morocco, doing these migrations during European colonization, invasion, and it's you that's behind HaLawah being murked at the Battle of Tippecanoe, and it's you with the Kentuckians, Ismael migrating, tribing up with the Kentuckians, all this stuff, all these hijacks, and the Battle of Dames killing Tecumseh too. This is why you don't want to talk about it. You can't say this ain't you, Morocco. No. You can't say this ain't you, Morocco. You can't say this ain't you, Azamor, Morocco. This has been going on, like I said, before 1776, Columbus and right, okay. Morocco, you can't say this ain't you. No. We'll have more respect for you if you take accountability like we would have to if we did this to you. But all you can do is bring up Joshua driving you out of the lands of Canaan. And then since then, you begin your get back. All right, man. I ain't gonna get too deep on Morocco, man. I did it last time. Go get 125. I'm just saying 1777 is very close, to 1770, which is very close to 1785, right? And during all this time, Managi, we're in the Ice Age. I want to add this to the Chickamauga War factor. I need you to feel the weeping inside that these Nagas felt being forced into an ice age because of so many Nagas dying, because of so much epidemic and plague on our people, Black Death, and high technology. You walking around making it so cold in here. Ooh, it's cold in here. You making it so cold with your harmonics, man. And you saying it's a cube, Muhammad in there, Mecca, and you did it for 120 years at least until you laid low, maybe relocate. I don't know. You wouldn't be migrating for 120 years if you were getting your head blown off in these Chickamauga wars. You would not be lasting this so long. You talking about through 1905, right? What? Follow the wars. So you kept migrating until they finally had a handle on things in Mexico, right? In Texas. So after you helped them get all what they wanted, even ushered them into the Philippines, and of course beyond that, Ismael, you still migrating? You still walking around your cube, your pyramid? All this destruction is being happening. You didn't go back to wherever you from unless, oh, you from here. Like a lot of these tribes that turn their back on Tecumseh. I got a thought. Banana, right? Banana could just be bond. These are the bond wars, man. Man, these are bond wars. And ain't Moshe's mother named Anna? How about Lady Hannah? How about Ania? Ooh, the bonds of Ania? The bond plural for, kings and queens, brothers and sisters, sisters and brothers under the house of the Ba'at, right? The Ba'at. The Ba is the Ba'at. Nah, that's like noon, seed. Female seed, male seed. You need two seeds. Seed, you got the female seed, right? And the male seed, or noon, under one house, one Ba. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. I might gotta go back to my fireplace pretty soon. Reorganize my logs. Firestone. Banana, sons and daughters of Anna or Moses's mama or Lady Hannah or Anian or Anan bin David. Either way, we're talking Hebrew. Philippine, you got the land of Ophir. You got Solomon connected with the land of Ophir in Philippines, man. All this is Naga land. They know it. Mexico, you already know it's the Mexican. Hawaii, you already know it's the HaWah. It's all in front of you the whole time with eyes to see. Now you're back to the Toltecs, Nagas. Gotta get on that Madak, that Prince Madak, right? Because that's back to Kalelu. Udall, it's all happening. Texas. All right. It was a Cold War, right? Then they make their Cold War. Ain't this something? Just to put the icing on the cake. And they said, nah, it's just Russia and America. That was the puppet show. Somebody's gonna drop on somebody else, right? And they're making children hide under desks and do drills in case Russia presses the button or yada yada. Everyone's afraid. Meanwhile, the U.S. is occupying the Philippines and South Korea, which is why in South Korea, it's all good. It's friendly, right? We can go there. They're friends of America now. Nah, they got it by force. Cold War, right? Then Korean War. Because hey, they're occupying South Korea. Then the Vietnam War about more than August. And then Guatemala too. Oh, no, come on, man. This has always been about you. Haiti, Haiti. It's always been about you. Toussaint. Let's go, man. Toussaint L'Ouverture. Research Toussaint. Let's go, man. I'm just saying it's a cold war. It's a cold time. So these treaties are popping off. During the Cold War. Huh? In present day Rome? Oh, get out of town. Get out of town. Well, I'll be. Well, I'll be. There's a Rome, New York. There's also a Rome, Georgia. Right. Okay. Romans, right? Roman Emperor Charles. All right. You picture getting clear? Now check this picture out. So it's, from the top, Treaty of Fort Stanwix was a treaty finalized October 22nd, 1784, between the United States hijack and the indigenous colonies from the Six Nations of the Iroquois League, right? That's their confederacy. That's the Coon saying it. It was signed at Fort Stanwix in present-day Rome, New York, and was the first of several treaties between Native Americans and the United States after the American victory, the hijack victory in the Revolutionary War. Following the Revolutionary War, the British ceded their claims in North America to American government against the desire of the Native American allies. As a result, the status of Indian lands was ignored in the Treaty of Paris. That's another one we got to dig on, which was the peace and land settlement between the British and American colonies. So they settled. Iroquois League fled to Canada after the Revolution in order to continue receiving British support. Later, some of the Iroquois returned to their home in the Ohio region. So they got pushed all that way in that journey of chaos and destruction. Those that returned often got into violent conflicts with colonists trying to settle the area. The Treaty of Fort Stanwix was intended to serve as a peace treaty between the Americans and the Iroquois, or the hijack and the indigenous colonies. Let's say it like that. They keep putting their title, taking our titles, right? They're not Americans, so I'll say hijack. As well as secure other Indian lands further west. Whoa, I wonder where that is. Cali. Right? Now you got, all this Four Corners and all that, which the Iroquois had gained by conquest during the Beaver Wars in the last century. So they fought back and got it back. We got to dig on the Beaver Wars, man. Whoa. Also known as the Iroquois Wars or French and Iroquois Wars, were a series of conflicts fought intermittently during the 17th century in North America throughout the St. Lawrence River Valley in Canada and Great Lakes region. Shout out to my Great Lakes knockers. Detroit in there. Michigan. Whoa. Been getting in there. Joseph Brant was the leading Indian at the start of negotiations. He said, "But we must observe to you that we are sent in order to make peace and that we are not authorized to stipulate any particular cession of land. I can't seize no land." He's not authorized to stipulate them seizing the land. Brant had to leave early for a planned trip to England. The leading Indian representatives who signed the treaty were Corn Planter and Captain Aaron Hill. In this treaty, the Iroquois Confederacy ceded all claims to the Ohio territory. Tecumseh wasn't rocking with this. This is why he said, enough's enough. What year was this again? 84. Tecumseh War popped off 18, 11, 12, right? Okay. These treaties are major. They gave up so much land in each of these treaties, man. Entire states, so-called states, territories. I need you to feel this shit. This is your land being given to the hijack because they terrorize them, causing epidemics and cold ice ages. They said, all right, man, just stop the ice age. Let's start global warming. Global warming, we're just coming out of an ice age. Yeah, the earth is warming up. We're coming out of an ice age. Literally, 1900s, here we go. The earth keeps, they have these conferences. We don't understand the CO2 emissions, and we don't know why it just keeps getting hotter and hotter. Yeah, it's coming back to life. And maybe not everybody can survive in the frequency. Let's go, man. A strip of land along the Niagara River and all land west of mouth of Buffalo Creek in Pennsylvania. The land acquired in this treaty is known as the last purchase. The Six Nations Council at Buffalo Creek refused to ratify the treaty. So Tecumseh and them, they weren't standing on this. So they kept trying to have meetings with Tecumseh and his people, like, please stand on this treaty. And he went to every one of them. And we got it before, man, that Tecumseh was like, every one of you chiefs that signed this treaty, man, I'm going to have your head bone, man. And that's for real, for real. You selling us out? You selling the land that we don't own the land. The creator owns the land. We can't sell it. It's not for us to sell. The creator owns it. I need you to feel this shit. So Tecumseh and them refused to stand on this treaty, denying that their delegates had the power to give away such a large tracts of land, and asked the hijack to return of the deeds and promise to indemnify them for any presents they had given. So he's like, look, we'll pay back. Like, what do you want? Gold? You want some gold, man? The General Indian Confederacy also disavowed the treaty because most of the Six Nations did not live in the Ohio Territory. The Ohio Country natives, including the Shawnee Indians, the Seneca, Cayuga, and the Lenape, Delaware, several other tribes rejected the treaty. A series of treaties and land sales with those tribes soon followed. So even though they rejected the treaty initially, you know, about a year or so later, here we go with these treaties. Treaty of Fort McIntosh, okay, with the Wanandoti, Delaware, Chippewa, and Ottawa leaders for lands in Ohio. Look, man, you can't be talking about you in some indigenous community, Aboriginal this and that, and you don't feel this shit, man. And you don't want to talk to Tecumseh. You don't see how this connects with the land of Prester. John, priest king. A priest king is a chief, my naga. I'm speaking hijack, priest, king, right? Prester. Still, I'm speaking hijack. We're just talking about our chiefs, our khans. Now, I'm not speaking hijack. We're talking about The cons, man. The Wong cons, man. These treaties, man. You gotta say why. And that's when you gotta put the piece, the biblical piece that you're afraid of because you think it's just a white man's book. But this is a indigenous tribal book when you see clearly, as far as the old school, right? The prophets and yeah, you know what I'm saying? And they know that. Even the Mormons know that in their Book of Mormon. Book of Mormon, they're all indigenous tribes and they know that. Lamanites and all that are indigenous Americans. They don't hide that. They've sort of Indianized the biblical flow, but there's a lot of babies in that bathwater. Look out for the new series, Mormons Digging Deeper. We coming out. I got you. I've been talking about our new series, Mormons Digging Deeper. We're gonna come with it. Okay, so all this is gonna play. So all these tribes signed the Treaty of Fort McIntosh. Then there's Fort Finney, right? With Shawnee leaders for portions of Ohio. Now, Tecumseh, his mother is a Shawnee, so he was really pissed off. He was like, look, I know I'm Shawnee, but I ain't rocking with that. I ain't rocking with that. Mouth of the Great Miami River near the modern city of Cincinnati. Then you got the Phelps and Gordon Purchase with the Iroquois for land of New York State. Didn't my man rest in power, ODB, talk about the selling of Manhattan, my nigga? Ping pow. Was a purchase in 1788, 6 million acres. I can't even talk about this. I can't even talk about it. Can't even discuss this, man. 6 million acres? I'm going tongue-tied, boss. Of land in what is now western New York State from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for $1 million, 300,000 pounds. Now a house costs $1 million. They print so much money, you know. Back then, it wasn't that much money printed yet. We're just talking about paper. And for that amount of paper, not gold, but paper, they sold 6 million acres. Hey, somebody who's great at math, just let me know how much is that per acre? Per acre. Because they got 6 acres for every dollar. What we talking about? 15 cents? Are we talking about 15 cents? We're talking about 16, 17 cents? I'm just doing it in my head. I gotta do it now. Glad my dad was a math teacher, man. Rest in power, big Michael Andrews. You know what I mean? So, look, man, 15 cents an acre, boss. I told you I gotta come back to the fire. Turn up my frequency a little bit. Not go crazy. Ain't no rush. I got a lot of stuff to talk about. Ain't no rush, man. It's Prester 126. Ain't no rush, boss. Ain't no rush. How's the fire, man? Fire started. How's the fire? Woo! Call it a dime. Call it a penny. They just gave this shit away. Birdman hand run. Y'all still surfing away with me? 'Cause I'm here surfing away with you. I need you, my niggas. If I was reading this, I was just reading this on my own, I would lose it, man. If I didn't have you, man, to, you know, share this journey with, my nigga, for all these years we've been doing it, man, you know, where would we be? Let's go. Then you got the 15 cents, man. All right. This is what Tacoma say fighting for, all right? I just want you to see why he fighting and see why they call him the most ferocious Naga of all time against the hijack. He's like, hell nah, man. For paper monies and IOUs and promises, he could see the future. He know we gonna be looking crazy. Like, y'all gonna have me looking crazy out here. And during this whole time, you want to tell me that Ismael's migrating? I would lose it if it wasn't for Drop Nation. I would lose my shit as I wake up to this. And we all would. We need each other. We don't all gotta like each other, but we need each other. You know what I mean? To be code keepers first and foremost. And to be there when we feel it the most. That's all. You know, that's all. Ishmaelites, y'all migrating all through this thing. So who's all? Here's a good question. Here's a great question to the Ishmaelites and everybody down with them. Were you not benefiting from these treaties? Let me turn my frequency up while y'all think about a response. Turn my frequency way up for this one. This got to be good. Were you not benefiting from this millions and millions and millions and millions of acres, boss? Treaty of Fort Harmon. Yep. More claims in Ohio Territory. Chickamauga. Treaty of Canada. Iowa. HaWah. HaWah. Pickering Treaty, Calico Treaty, treaty signed after the American Revolutionary War between the Grand Council of the Six Nations and President George Washington representing the United States of America. Here comes Washington. And the Grand Council of Six Nations, that wasn't Tacoma saying that we're about to get it, right? That was Push Mataha, something like that, right? The Choctaw chief and them. And he became like, he became the man in the U.S. Army. The Choctaw chief became the guy. The guy. just like they say Tecumseh is the most feared, and these hijacks in the U.S. Army got to admit that he's the most vicious, op to them. Their best friend was this Push Mataha, who was leading, not just the Choctaw, but a whole group of Nagas. And this don't represent my Nagas today that are of these tribes. But I'm saying we all had some wicked chiefs, man. And he don't got to be wicked to want to think it was a better way for him to preserve his tribe. But hindsight's 2020. We could see it was a bad move and was it on purpose? We don't know. Treaty of Big Tree. Oh yeah, we're back in New York, right? Between 1797, between the Seneca Nation and the United States, in which the Seneca relinquished their rights to nearly all of their traditional homeland in the New York State. Nearly 3.5 million acres given up. And we got the Phelps joint where they gave up another 6 million acres. So within 2 years, between 97, 88, 9 years, they gave up 10 million acres in New York City alone. In New York alone, they got 10 million in 9 years. 10 million. Was they whooping? Was they whooping us that bad, or was they using technologies and epidemics? Like, how did they just walk into? Oh, treaties too. Yeah, treaties. We got this before Treaty of Fort Wayne, right? And look how many they got here. 1809 treaty. I need to get my fireplace back for a second. What does it say? 30 million acres, my nigga, in one treaty. In one treaty. Oh yeah, this pushed Tecumseh to the edge, man. he been fighting this whole time to stop this stuff from happening. 1809. Ooh, yeah, that's Tecumseh time. It's Tecumseh time. They say no major war because they just did the Treaty of Fort Wayne. They did no major war because they stole 30 million acres of land. Manipulated, forced. Then they occupied West Florida, which later they say was like the richest territory, right? The richest territory in America. Because here they come. And here he comes, right? Tecumseh, like, all right, this is it. So he went full steam into the hijack. Almost kamikaze style. Just got my niggas that's down with me, and we gonna fight to the death. That's it. No negotiations, no treaties. Chickamauga style, right? Chickamauga style. Dragon canoe style. Chickamauga style. Dragon canoe style. Who led a band of Cherokee warriors who resisted the colonists. Hijacks. During the American Revolution and afterward, Dragon Canoe's forces were sometimes joined by the Upper Muskogee. They had an August back. Chickasaw, right? So we had some Chickasaw that was doing treaties, some Chickasaw that was down with the cause. Or maybe they was down with it at first, and then they flipped, like the Shawnee. They was down with it at first, and then some of them flipped. It happened a lot. We ain't here to bash or discredit nothing. We just saying, man, Naga, don't you want to know what happened to you and why you was fighting each other? Why is there a need for Prester John if you're just gonna fight each other and not fight the hijack? So HaWah says it's gonna be many years without a gun. It's gotten ridiculous. Cherokee made no treaty, but we have our own treaty, right? A covenant HaWah has sworn to his chosen unto David. It's the only treaty that, we under this covenant forever. But first you gotta be in the code. Then we could talk covenant of peace. Okay. All this infighting, all this bloodshed, all these turncoat niggas, all this harlotry, all this false godness, walking around cubes and pyramids causing ice ages. The children of Israel shall sit solitary many days. You don't think we had Israelites joining Ismael on their migrations? You don't think these were Israelites that were also signing these treaties against Tecumseh? What do you think you don't think HaWah is affected when he sees his children making these treaties, selling off their land that was given. Joshua delivered the land, the promised land. Don't you remember? And you think you can sell it? You thought you could sell it, boss? Oh, no. Oh, no. The children of Israel shall sit solitary many days without a Khan. Many days without a Khan. Because what do you do to your Khan? You leave him hanging. You turn your back on your Khan. Without a prince, all of your righteous, whatever, sacrifice, whatever you think you righteous, forget about it. I'll wait until the hearts are ready to return. The world ain't got to return, just you, my nigga. For it to return back to your natural world, only you have to return. You don't got to depend on Hijack City for nothing. Seek the code, right? The creator. The code means you're listening to what HaWah has commanded. Exodus 20 got us in code. I'll say it again. Exodus 20 got us in code. Talking 9 code. Then we can search for David Prester 126. That means that you have started to return. We must be seeing the creator, or else we won't be talking David. Because wasn't no one talking David, my naga, before we started talking David. There was no consistent flow about the return of Israel and King David. Hosea 3 wasn't even being mentioned. Now we could return trembling to HaWah and his goodness in the end of days. This is what happens. I need my knockers to feel this shit, man. Shalaki, man. I need my knockers to feel this shit. Before the Fort Wayne Treaty, where you gave up 30 million acres, and all them other treaties, Dragon Canoe was putting in work, but not dragon, not dragging, Dragon Canoe. We're talking about the Nagas that made no deals. The Chickamauga that separated. Because the majority of Cherokee, pay attention to the majority of Cherokee. So when we hear about these Cherokee treaties, that was the majority of these Nagas that was under these other tribes making treaties. And it wasn't every Naga. It was just that they had to rock with their chief. They weren't about to go against their house like that. You know, they had to rock with them. They felt they was doing the right thing. They felt they were protecting their tribe. Some of them, and other folks is guilty of manipulating the whole situation and truly continuing the more and more war. The majority of our people chose to make treaties of peace and friendship with the hijack. 1776. 1785. We read it last time, right? My enemy's now your enemy. You can't help them. They can't, you know what I mean? Like, we got to rock together. And that's just a treaty that has been extended and extended to this day, my naga. Pirates. Yeah, we talk pirates. Barbary. We talk Swan Knights. We talk Sylvanus to Texas. Genealogies never connect this. Okay. However, in the winter of 1776-77, the followers of Skiagusta, war chief Dragon Canoe, moved with him down the Tennessee or Tunisia River. We're talking Morocco. You can't have Morocco without Tunisia, Algiers. We talked about Algiers connecting with the Louisiana flow. We just go get the drop. Tunisia to Tennessee, Tunisia, away from the historic overhill town. So they had to move low. So later they're called like the Lower Lakes people or the Lower Cherokee because they had to move from their historic overhill, beautiful town. Relocating in a more isolated area, they established 11 new towns in order to gain distance from the hijacks, encroachments. The frontier Americans associated Dragon Canoe with his tribe, and his tribe with their new town on the Chickamauga Creek, which stands for the River of Death, they call it. So their name is not Chickamauga. They were they were just called after this creek by the hijack, and began to refer to this tribe of Karki as the Chickamauga. So what did they refer to themselves as? What did they call themselves? 5 years later, the Chickamauga moved further west and southwest into present-day Alabama, where X marks the spot. Follow the towel. We're talking Thomas and Battle of Thames, right? Dizzle Fitty, take the wheel. They were. So they established 5 larger settlements. They were then more commonly known as Lower Cherokee by the hijack, associated with the 5 lower towns. You got your Chickamauga towns, right? The Overhill towns. Oh, this is your land. Do you have these rights today? We're going to read some more treaties and get into Tecumseh flow, like we never done before. Let's go. Dragon Canoe and his followers settled at the place where the great Indian warpath crossed the Chickamauga Creek near present-day Chattanooga, Tennessee. They named their town Chickamauga after the stream. The entire adjacent region was referred to in general as the Chickamauga area. American settlers adopted that term to refer to the militant Cherokee, the Naga Cherokee. These are the Cherokee that fight back, you know what I mean? For the land, for their families, for the tribe. So if they were militant, they called them Chickamaugas, because they were rebelling against tyranny, chaos, and wickedness. They're now militant. They're now rebelling. They didn't want the hijack revolution. To make a revolution is to make an entire change. They didn't want your entire change. They wanted to change it back to what it was. Your revolution is completely anti-opposite their revolution. Your peace is completely anti-opposite their peace. Along with the Hawasi, Hawasa, Hiwa, Hawa towns. Right in your face, man. We're looking at their translations. We see what it is. Westward migration increased by the hijack from the new states. Virginia, north and south, Katai, Prester John, Katai, and Georgia, like David Soslan, Exilarch of Babylon in Georgia. This is all Israel. Dragon Canoe. Siyu Gansini, born 1738. Dragon Canoe was the son of Akula Salagi, little carpenter, a Nipissing headman, and Neoni Ali, tame dog. Many members of these two Native American groups then lived with the Cherokee and had adapted to Cherokee society. Kula. Dragon Canoe's father was born to the Nipissing near Lake Superior. His mother had been born to the Natchez, but was adopted by, or as a daughter, by the Cherokee chief, Okanastota. Dragon Canoe's family lived with the Overhill Cherokee on Little Tennessee River in what is now southeast Tennessee. He survived smallpox, right? They tried to take him out there, which left his face marked. Dragon Canoe's brother, the Badger, wasn't there some Badger Wars or something too? Or Beaver Wars, okay. And also became a Cherokee chief. According to Cherokee legend, he was given his name because of an incident in his childhood when he wanted to join a war party moving against the Shawnee. His father said that he could accompany the war party as long as he could carry his canoe. So at this time, they were ops of the Shawnee. And this was some old biblical tribal wars, man. He wanted to join a war party moving against the Shawnees. And later the Shawnee ended up doing the treaties against the Kumse. See how this works? Tribal war. The youth tried to prove his readiness for war, but could only drag the heavy canoe. So they call him Dragging Canoe. Stop it, boss. Dragon Canoe, boss. Oh, man, they go into the establishment. It's a lot of drop. Here's what happened at his death, which is very interesting. We got to do a whole investigation on this. Dragon Canoe died February 29, 1792. Man, that's another National Naga Day, man. February 29th. A leap year? Oh, it's a leap year. At Running Water Town from exhaustion. So they say after making all this war, he just dies of exhaustion. Do y'all believe that? He just got exhausted? Or a heart attack? Okay. After dancing all night, boss. This is their official story. Now check it. He was dancing all night. They said he died of exhaustion, celebrating the recent conclusion of an alliance with the Muskogee and the Choctaw. Yeah, boss. We know that the Muskogee, at least the upper Muskogee, sided with the Tecumseh, right? And we're going to get more into it now, The Choctaw, obviously their chief was leading the charge against the Tecumseh. You know what I mean? So one stayed, one flipped for whatever. The energy, the hatred, the covetous, out of cold. The Chickamauga were also celebrating a recent victory by one of their war bands against the Cumberland settlements. He was succeeded as chief by John Watts. Now, somebody could be named John Watts today, and you wouldn't even understand the origin of this John Watts in America as indigenous. You would think it's some white name. We got Watts, California, Watts in LA, but John Watts, also known as Young Tassel, was one of the leaders of the Chickamauga Cherokee during the Cherokee American Wars. Watts became particularly active in the fighting after frontiersmen murdered his uncle, Old Tassel Carpenter, in 1788 while he traveled. So he started getting it in. They made him leader for a reason. And John means king. Ka. Myth of the Cherokee considered him a role model for younger Tecumseh. He was a member of a band of Shawnee living with the Chickamauga, taking part in their wars. So Tecumseh was, again, his mom was a Shawnee, so he was living with the Chickamauga, taking part in these Chickamauga wars the whole time. Direct descendant of Sequoyah, George, right? Just like Georgia. Georgia on my mind, huh? Both Tecumseh and Sequoyah are stated to have been among his young warriors. So Tecumseh and his pops both were fighting under Dragon Canoe in the Chickamauga Wars. Got it. All this. Tecumseh was there. His pops was there. So it was only right he led the charge. And Nagas was rocking. You know, the creek kind of went this way and then it went that way. There's a lot to read on this creek as well, but here we are. So after all that fighting, Dragon Canoe, they say, dies of exhaustion after dancing, after making a treaty with the Choctaw and Muskogee. So if he made a treaty with the Choctaw and Muskogee, that means they were present at the party, right? Maybe. Did Dragon Canoe get backdoored? That's a good question. Did he get backdoored by some people he was allied with? Maybe by somebody in his own clan, maybe. Treaty of Greenville, Fort Greenville, Shalak, 1795. Settlement that concluded hostilities between the hijack and an Indian confederation by Miami Chief Little Turtle, by which the Indians ceded, gave up most of the future state of Ohio and significant portions of Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. That's 1795. They gave up Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio. 1795. While Ishmael still migrating, we losing millions of acres of land, and they're coming in. Don't that seem a little fishy? And they're coming in for 120 years, so they must have been very secure, very shielded in the Moorish treaty. We're talking Ismael under Noble Drew Ali and them. They're all tribed up. Canaanite, Moabite, Psalms 83 Confederacy. Right in our face, and recently, they giving up Indiana? Huh? Interesting that we're giving up Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan. Come on. Come on, brother. Hold on. We gave up all this, right? Ohio, right? Brother. This is Fort Wayne, right? We're giving up 30. You see Fort Wayne right here? Managa, I can't make this shit up. You see all the treaties right here on the map where Ishmael's migrating for 120 years. And Morocco's right here. Come on, brother. And the Fort Wayne moraine, look up a moraine. It has to do with the glaciation lines as well. So when you see moraine, it has to do with glaciers, Wabash Moraine, glaciers, Ice Age, coldest time period in over 1,000 years. Boss, you telling me we gave up everything for them to build their pyramid of harmonics? For them to make their Hajj? We might gotta holler at Pembroke, man. We might gotta holler at Pembroke. Cause this is crazy. Here's some more moraines that has to do with the glaciation line. Moraine, rocks and soil deposited by retreating glaciers, my naga. Get out of town, right? Get out of town. So when we see moraines, glaciers were there, now they're retreating because of global warming. Because you're getting out of an ice age. And what caused it? Hmm? Holy mountain, huh? Holy to who? I mean, that was all glacier here around the Lake Michigan. And we gave up all this when? 1795. You know, Tecumseh wasn't having this. he, he must have lost his mind. Northwest Indian War. That's right. That's right. That's right. According to a maxim, according to a maxim perspective, we are what they would call Northwest Africa. Right. Yeah. Ka. There's an untold history. Hush, hush about the Moors. It's like a big secret, right? Truth is, the Moors were and are the aboriginal indigenous inhabitant hijacking. They forgot that word. Hijacking North, Central, South America, Mexico, Canada, because they're getting land out of these treaties, making the treaties of pieces of friendship, which means that whatever land we're giving up, they're benefiting off of while making migrations around their whack ass cube. Right here at home, in the same lands that we're giving up in the Treaty of Greenville, boss, because it's northwest of Maxim, right? Northwest, India. Got it. 1795. Ping pow. 1795. Just surfing away. Give it Ohio, Indiana. I mean, come on. All right, so you could keep reading, man. You keep reading, man. I'll leave it for you. I'll leave it for you, man. Sickening, just sickening, man. You know, sickening. You heard of the Fort Laramie Treaty, 1868. So this is 1868. Like a big finalized treaty goes down. 1868. After they bring down Tecumseh and them, but Monagas keep fighting. 1868. During the Texas Indian War, Long Walk of the Navajo, Apache Wars, skirmish between 1st Cavalry and Indians, Snake War, Utah's Black Hawk War, Red Clouds War, Comanche War, Battle of Washita War, and the Franklin County War was all popping in the same year, 1868. Because my Nagas kept fighting. You didn't have time to be a slave. You kept fighting, my Naga. How does slavery exist with you fighting all these wars? I don't make it make sense. They had to bring in a whole new type of Naga, black man, black woman, to be a slave here. Because you was the same Indian tribes, indigenous Hebrew tribes in America, Amarukas, that were on the front lines. And that's why you don't know who you are today. That's why you forgot. Talking 1868. Yeah, Lieutenant William Sherman, General William S. Harney, General Alfred H. Terry, all these hijacks, duly appointed commissioners in part of the United States, different bands of the Sioux nations of Indians by their chiefs and headmen. Yeah, so make a long story short, I know it's small, just so you can see, a little bit of what we're doing. We get a little bigger. I'm gonna have to go back and forth a little bit. From this day forward, all war between the parties to this agreement shall forever cease. No more war between us and y'all, right? Hijack wants peace, but you're going to have to break them off a piece of something to get that peace. The Indians desire peace. Well, not the Coomsay in them, not the Coomsay, because these Cherokees made no peace, right, with the hijack. And they now pledge their honor to maintain it. Damn. If bad men among the whites or among other people subject to the authority of the United States shall commit any wrong upon the personal property of the Indians, the United States will, upon proof made to the agent and forwarded to the Commissioner of Indian Affairs at Washington City, proceed at once to cause the offender to be arrested and punished according to the laws of the U.S. and also reimburse the injured person for the loss. So if any of y'all get hurt, we got y'all. We got y'all. Any of our dirty Moors, right? If bad man among the Indians shall commit wrong or depredation upon the persons of property of nay one white, black, or Indian, subject to the authority of the United States, any of our Indians, right, and at peace therein, the Indians herein named solely agree that they will, upon proof made by their agent, notice by them, deliver up the wrongdoer to the United States to be tried and punished, hung and tortured, such as the Combs. Does that mean y'all gotta deliver Tecumseh and all these Chickamauga because you want to call them a wrongdoer to the United States, boss? And who's the number one wrongdoer? How do we get here? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Who's the number one op to the hijack? He was in several respects the most celebrated Indian warrior which ever raised an arm against the Americans. Damn, he had been in almost every engagement, right? Because he'd been with the Chickamauga, with the whites. Hey, Tecumseh received the stamp of greatness from the hand of HaWah, which they call nature. And if he had been cast a different lot, man, if he wasn't on that side of things, on the side of nature, right? If he wasn't on the side of nature or the creator, oh man, we could have made him shine, man, been the most distinguished of all men if he was only on our side. He was endowed with a powerful mind, with the soul of a hero. There was an uncommon dignity in his countenance and manners. By the former, he could easily be discovered even after death among the rest of the slain, for he wore no insignia of distinction. He just came in like a regular Naga on the front lines. You gonna feel this shit. When girded with the silk sash and told by General Proctor that he was made a brigadier in the British service for his conduct at Brownstown and Magugua. He returned the present with respectful contempt. I don't want your presents, man. I didn't do it for you. You just do what you're supposed to do. I need all the help I could damn near get. Born with no title to command but his native greatness, every tribe yielded submission to him at once. What? Is this why Push Mataha was the number one op at the Tecumseh? He says, man, I don't care how mighty you are. He was jealous of Tecumseh because every tribe yielded submission to him at once, and no one ever disputed his precedence. Subtle and fierce in war. Managa, this is the op talking. This is the U.S. Army dude talking who witnessed this. These are Tecumseh's ops. Subtle and fierce in war, he was possessed of uncommon eloquence. His speeches might bear a comparison with those of the most celebrated orators of Greece and Rome. What? What? Most celebrated orators of the Greeks and the Romans. He would compare to that. His invective was terrible, as may be seen in the reproaches which he applied to Proctor a few days before his death in a speech which was found among the papers of the British officer. His form was uncommonly elegant, his stature about 6 feet, his limbs perfectly proportioned. He was honorably interred by the victors by whom he was held in much respect as an inveterate but magnanimous enemy. Magnanimous enemy to the hijack. The Creek Indians, under their prophet Weatherford, continued in the war with the English. He was a magnanimous enemy. What? Deliver up the wrongdoers to the United States now, boys, all right? All right, y'all do right by this treaty. Huh? If any bad man, oh mama, there go that man. If any bad man, he was magnanimous to the enemy. He was a magnanimous enemy to the hijack. So he's target number one. So you see how these treaties work? Not only are you giving them land, but you're also offering protection for the hijack. And they give you what's called peace, right? They let you keep some stuff. Let's see what they got to keep. Okay. So the U.S. agrees that the following district of country, commencing on the east bank of the Missouri River, where the 46th parallel of north latitude crosses the same, thence along low water mark, down said east bank to a point opposite where the north line. Man, they box these niggas in. Like they took everything and just gave them some little longitude and latitude. Northern line of the state of Nebraska strikes the river, thence west across the river and along the northern line of Nebraska to the 104th degree of longitude west from Greenwich, then north on said meridian. I mean, come on. All right. Shall be, and the same is set apart for the absolute and undisturbed use and occupation of the Indian. Right, and then they got that too, right? We know they break their treaties. So they're going to give you a little something. Yeah, it should appear from actual survey or other satisfactory examination of said tract of land that it contains less than 160 acres of tillable land for each person who at the time may be authorized to reside on it. Because if you're not authorized, if you're not a recognized tribe, we don't recognize you. Because you're a magnanimous enemy. You're a wrongdoer. You're a bad man. These niggas coming over here calling us bad men. These invaders are killing, stealing, and plummeting everything and call us savages. Damn. So they got all this stuff. You read it, man. I'm disgusted. You read it. Right? I mean, they're going to give them someplace on the Missouri River. I know it's small. Pull it up, man. Pull these links. Near the center of the said reservation where timber and water may be convenient, the following buildings, a warehouse, a storeroom. They got some trinkets. We'll spend at least 2,000 on this, 3,000 on this, 3,000 on that. All right, we'll let you have some carpenters and blacksmiths and stuff. And a schoolhouse. Yeah, a mission building. So soon as a sufficient number of children can be induced by the agent to attend school, which shall not cost exceeding $5,000. And hey, the agent for the Indians, man, you could make your future home in the agency building too. You could be a good boy. And anytime there's a problem, you can come to our office. Yeah. The president may at any time order a survey of the reservation. Oh, damn. Congress shall provide for protecting the rights of the said settlers. Yeah, okay. Did it happen? Six to my, made me sick to my stomach, man. That's crazy talk. Halal HaWah, man. I gotta breathe through this, man. I gotta breathe. Just gotta breathe. Now they want to make sure they educated you, right? So Article 7 in the Treaty of which one is this? I lost track. Which treaty is this? Oh, Laramie. All right. In order to ensure the civilization of the Indians, because you're not civil, you're savages. In order to hijack and brainwash Naga children entering into this treaty, the necessity of education is admitted. We'll allow you to be educated our way, not your way, especially if such of them as are or may be settled on said agricultural reservation, and they therefore pledge themselves to compel their children. Didn't I say we're going to come back to that word, compel? Right? They want you a part of the treaty other than giving up all this land and having to protect them. Don't that sound like the Treaty of Peace and Friendship? Just kind of remixed in all these little treaties? Don't that sound like the same thing? And now you got a pledge to compel your children, male and female, between the ages of 6 and 16 years. Don't this sound familiar, my nugget? Right? You gotta attend some type of school, or else they gonna send some type of, somebody at your door, right? So now you got kindergarten all the way to high school. You think that came out of nowhere, or are you still going to Indian schools, brainwashing your children because you compel them to go, right? To attend school because you have to, right? Because it's in the treaty. That's why. And it is hereby made the duty of the agent for the said Indians to see that the stipulation is strictly complied. Strictly, what does it mean? That means forced. That means they force your children to be brainwashed. That's why they got these agencies set up today to check on you and your children if someone complains about something. They say, what? Timmy didn't go to school. He can't be learning from his tribe, right? He got to be learning from the government, right? Every 30 children between said ages who can be induced or compelled to attend school. So can you be induced or compelled? Forced to let them educate your child's mind while you make your paper because you're compelled to do that to pay your bills. Seems like a necromancy sorcerer system if I ever seen one, witnessed one. So they're gonna give you a new schoolhouse and a teacher. Right? Public school, you ain't gotta pay your teachers. We'll pay your teacher to teach elementary branches of the English education. So you are learning English education, not American education, education of England. And do you think England wants to educate you? Yeah, Manaka, this is sickening. And here's the, cons that sign off on it. From the Sioux Nation, from all these other nations, man. Dakota, right? Territory, right? You see, Iron Shell in there, Tall Man, Bad Left Hand, White Bull, Pretty Coon even signed this thing. Fast Bear, White Eye. Oh, not Hawk Cloud. Big Dog too. Damn, that was my dog. Dayhawk and Braveheart. Shunka, Shatan. Oh no. Man, Bad Wound did too, man. Ghost Heart did. I mean, Red Thunder, Poor Bull, and Mad Shay. You think Nas got some names now, man? Hey, it's where you get it from, man. Quickie Eagle, man, you too. Young White Bull did it because OG White Bull did it. Slow Bull and Spotted Elk. Lone Bear and Brave Bear. Black Eagle and the Fool Dog too. He ain't no fool though, right? Damn, little soldier, they got you, man. That's my little soldier. I mean, you see it, boss. It's too many. Fort Laramie Treaty. Making a dismount, man. Just remember, man. The Gom says for the tribe, man. They say this is part of his speech, trying to tribe up the Nagas. Before me stand the rightful owners of this beautiful land that they call Kwa Nachi We Aki. Aki. The great spirit, Wah, in his wisdom, gave it to you and your children to defend and place you here, Manak. Alas, but Atawa, the incoming race, like a huge serpent, is coiling closer. He's talking about chemical serpents, man. And closer about you, and not content with hemming you in on every side, but they have built as Shigong, Chicago. They have built as Chicago. In the very center. I mean, don't that got everything to do with the more war, Chicago, Mauritania? They've built in Mauritania, in the very center of our country. Whoa. Golly. Golly, dog. Golly, dog. In the very center of our country. Illinois, right? Illinois, con. It's the Kumse line. Can y'all write in the comments? No play, my naga. The Kumse ain't lying. They've built their Mecca in Mauritania, Morocco, Muhammad in him, with all these Champagne moraines, Bloomington moraines, where the ice and the glaciers are retreating. In the center of our country, pop off Tecumseh, pop off Tech for the dismount, for the dismount. What? He ain't. These are factoids, my nigga. He ain't fronting. No lies detected. Ain't no cap on his number 2 pencil. And wasn't no cap on Antarctica's chest bone until they brought their ice age. Con. In the very center of our country, no play my naga. What? A military fort garrison with soldiers like Fort Wayne. Let's go. Let's go. Ready and equipped for battle, as sure as Wah Quinn, Oak, or the heavens, Wah, right? Let's go. Are above you. They are determined to destroy you and your children and occupy this goodly land, promised land, could they lose themselves? Yes, man. Then they will destroy these forests. Uh-oh. We see it happening today. Wildfires, right? DEWs, whose branches wave in the winds above the graves. Your fathers chanted their praises. If you doubt it, come, go with me eastward or southward a few days' journey along your ancient Mikanok trails, and I will show you a land you once occupied, made desolate. There the forests of untold years have been hewn down and cast into fire. There be the buffalo and the deer, the fowl and the fish are all gone. The woodland birds whose sweet songs once pleased your ears have forsaken the land, never to return. You're gonna feel this thing. And the wildflowers, wild been going on, which your maidens once loved to wear, have all withered and died. You must bear in mind these strangers are not as you. They are devoid of natural affection, alchemical serpents. AI, artificial, loving gold or gain better than one another, their own souls. Some of them follow on your track as quietly as the wolf pursues the dare to shoot you down as you hunt and kill the panther. But a few years since, I saw with my own eyes a young white man near the Ohio River who was held by our people as a prisoner of war. He won the hearts of his captors with his apparent friendship and goodwill, while murder was in his heart. They trusted him as they trusted one another, but he most treacherously betrayed their confidence and secretly killed not less than 20 before his crimes were detected. And then he fled. He went around sniping and killing like a madman, like a trained serial killer. That's just a piece of what the Tecumseh's talking about. And what can you say to it? How can you disagree? But some did disagree. Pull up these links for the dismount. We'll get into it more later. I just want to bring you in on why you've gone so many days without a car. It's not enough to be Indian. It's not enough to be Hebrew. You got to be a code keeper. Push Mataha was one of more than 2,000 Native Americans who are known to have sided with the American hijack by choosing to serve in the armies of Andrew Jackson. And Andrew Jackson rode up on Tecumseh in the War of 1812. Wah, wah, wah. Which means one thing, that Tecumseh had to fight against Push Matahawa, the Choctaw, and everybody down with them in these wars. Yeah. Most celebrated Naga warrior who rose against the opposition invasion in America. The War of 1812 took him out, 1813, because these Nagas, over 2,000 Nagas, fought against the Tecumseh. Damn. The War of 1812, as it was fought in the southern states, United States, came to be known as the Creek War because the armies that were formed came hither to fight Red Stick Creeks, who opposed other Creeks. Damn, I'm glad y'all said that because I keep seeing Creeks on both sides of the war. I'm glad you cleared that up. Creeks is also a generic term. It's not just one tribe. The Choctaw are not just one tribe. These are all confederacies who had acculturated themselves to white society. So the Red Stick Creeks were fighting their ops, right? Who are the other Creeks that, made treaties, all right, to white society by changing into prosperous farmers and plantation owners. Whoa. So when they talk about slaves, plantations, and these niggas that were running the plantations, well, there you go. These were the op Creeks and them who became these plantation masters on the plantation. Now you go back to Django and them, right? It was their, that was their role. It wasn't their land, but they took over these plantations by acculturating themselves. Okay. Whose activities encroached on the hunting lands of their more traditionalist kin, their kinfolk, right? Because all skinfolk ain't kinfolk. The resulting suicidal conflict fought in the Mississippi Territory, Georgia, is what is today referred to as the Florida Panhandle, divided the members of interrelated Indian and mixed blood and white families, because once they tied in with these other families, now they are by default fighting on the Pushmataha side, right? Or the hijack side, who lived in Georgia in the Mississippi Territory as nothing had before. Many of the Native Americans who were organized in companies and detachments are named in company muster rolls. Almost one half, listen up, my naga, for the dismount. Almost one half of these were Choctaw. The other half consisted of Cherokees, Creeks, and Chickasaws. But we know that not all Cherokee, right? God, God. Because the Chickamauga separated from the greater body of Cherokee during the American Revolutionary War. Because the majority wanted to make treaties of peace with the hijack. So, we see clearly. Not all Cherokees are the same, not all Creeks are the same, not all Chickasaws, and not all Choctaws, right? So we see clearly many more of these Native American soldiers fought, but cannot be identified as individuals, although their tribal affiliation was known. Warriors often were enrolled with their chiefs. A given chief might be listed as having come with 500 warriors, but no accounting was made of who these warriors were. If the names of the individual warriors are found to have been listed, few of these warriors had traditional first and last name. Instead, where lists exist, we have Indian names, which were intended to be descriptive of an individual and his accomplishments, translated loosely into English, but with confusing results. The list of Cherokee soldiers who fought for Jackson at the Battle of Horseshoe Bend contains the names of 3 man killers and 1 man slayer. Damn. Half-breeds who fought on both sides fared better. Both sides, man. Their names are often preserved in historical accounts of the events in which they participated. Dixon Bailey, a half-breed who commanded what Pickett described as a half-breed militia, is immortalized in accounts of the Fort Mims massacre, where he is seen violently fighting until the end. So some of these half-breeds were choosing up. His name is again preserved in the legal claim presented by his surviving brother James, who filed claim to be compensated for the following. He filed a claim. He wanted, man, his horses, man. He wanted all his stock and stuff, man. He said, y'all gotta give me at least 3 racks, at least 4 racks. Man. Push HaLal. I'm skipping through this, but we're gonna, we always come back, so it's all good. Push HaLal in 1813, right? That's the end of the Tecumseh War. At the time of the Fort Mims massacre, was 50 years old. So the Fort Mims massacre against Hebrews, Managa, was right at the end where Tecumseh died, which takes us to the Battle of Thames or Thomas or Tau, right? 13 years earlier, 1800, had been elected Mingo, or chief of the Choctaws. Mingo, man. This word has been on my head bone lately. And this British Museum map of 1530 showing the land of Prester John right there, right where everything is happening at, right where they're building their Morocco and all this is right called Prester John in 1530 by the British Museum. Remember, the British to an extent were rocking with the Tecumseh, which means they must have been rocking to an extent with the Prester. Because the Brit means covenant, right? And all those lands were Hebrew lands. Scotland and all that, right? God. India Superior right here. You see like Magni or Mangni, On another map we have, it's called Mangu or Mangi. Mangu, Mangi. Mingo? I don't know. 1811, when Tecumseh came to garner support for his British-backed plan to recover lands from the United States, hijacked Push HaLal had strongly resisted such a plan. Strongly resisted. He says, nah, it's up. Between me and you, it's up. You the op. He didn't care. You the op. All right. Everybody loves you. Everybody surrenders to you, not me, because you the op, right? Pointing out that the Choctaws and their neighbors, the Chickasaw, lived in peace with white man, or the hijack, in the More War. So they were at peace with the Moor. Say it like that. And whoever the Moor brought with him. He had learned valuable skills and technologies. Look at this, it's like an ET invasion. We'll promise you technology and skills. Just let us invade. Let us invade your body. Honest treatment, fair trade. His meeting with Tecumseh ended with Push HaLal warning Tecumseh that he would fight against those who fought against the United States. If this ain't the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, nothing is. Because that's part of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. My enemy's your enemy. You gotta help me, I gotta help you. With Morocco, Push seemed really tied in. Push seemed to really be pushing this Morocco flow. Following the massacre of Fort Mims, Pushmataha went to Fort Stevens, Alabama. Remember they Tecumseh and Chickamauga dragon canoe went through Alabama, right? Okay. Alabama, right? Alabama, right? With an offer of alliance, a treaty. So Push came with the Treaty of Alliance, which included a promise to recruit warriors returning to Choctaw territory. Pushmataha raised a company of 500 Choctaw warriors, which he brought with him to Fort Stevens, where he was in return commissioned as the Brigadier General in the United States Army. So Push was a general in the Army under General Claiborne, whom he joined in November 1813. Because in 1813, boss, it was the Tecumseh War. Pushmataha and 200 of his warriors took part in an attack on Creek forces at the Battle of the Holy Ground. It's right in your face, Managa. This is holy ground. This is promised land. Kalelus means promised land. On December 23, 1813, and February 1814, a larger band of Choctaws under General Pushmataha joined General Jackson and helped out, aided in driving Creeks out of the territories near Pensacola. It keeps going. We're going to take our time with this. We're going to come back to it, man. You see, it's a more and more war. Now they driving out the good creeks, not the hijack creeks. These are the creeks that were side by side with Tech. Huh? The Creek War. Huh? The Tecumseh War. Huh? And recon the comet of 1811, 1812. There's a big dragon flying around, scaring Napoleon, and it's called Napoleon's Comet. It's also called Tecumseh's Comet. It's the same dragon going coast to coast, giving a warning of something either good or bad. And Tecumseh dying was a warning that in Tecumseh's name, they say means shooting star or meteor or comet, right? Or dragon, like dragon canoe. Okay. And here comes this comet or meteor or dragon. At the same time as Tecumseh's war, probably, showing that it was almost his time. And the whole world had to feel it. The whole world had to feel it. Great document by Keith E. Whittington. Debate at the Choctaw Council, 1811. We'll may pick up right here next time. Man. Tecumseh was a Shawnee in the Northwest Territory, a Maxim, right? The Shawnee had favored the British during the American Revolutionary War, and Tecumseh became a leader in the fight against American westward expansion, joining various tribes in raids all along, jamming up the hijack. Magnanimous enemy, right? After Governor William Henry Harrison negotiated the Treaty of Fort Wayne, 1809, where they gave up over 30 million acres of land, which ceded much of Ohio to the Americans. Tecumseh tried to rally native opposition to the Americans and to tribe up tribal land cession. His speech to a council of the Choctaw and Chickasaw was part of that barnstorming effort to rally Nagas, man. Tribe up. Tribes to battle the hijack. Those tribes rejected his appeal, man. How you looking now? How y'all looking now with these treaties? Heeding the argument of the Choctaw chief Pushmataha, who contended that the United States was too strong to resist with force and that those tribes had successfully lived in peace with the hijack. While Tecumseh was campaigning in the South, Harrison launched a battle of Tippecanoe in the North, weakening Tecumseh's allies. This is when he killed Tecumseh's brother, the Prophet, and a lot of other Nagas in the Battle of Tippecanoe. While Tecumseh was out tribing up Nagas, trying to rally up more Nagas, they attacked the stronghold at Tippecanoe. Tippecanoe is where X marks the spot. Tippecanoe is where X marks the spot, my Naga. They just took over, right? The tribe of Ismael had an exuberant something must or musical tradition all its own and produced many gifted musicians. Well, good for you, Ishmael. While you migrating around the place. Good for you. Hope y'all proud of yourselves in your musical holy mountain of harmonics, right? I wonder what frequency your music was tuned to. I guarantee it wasn't 432. Push Mataha contended that the United States was too strong to resist. They lived in peace, not the covenant of peace, right? Hijack peace. Tippecanoe weakened Tecumseh's allies. In War of 1812, Tecumseh allied with the British, while the Choctaw allied with the Americans. Everybody chose sides. Tecumseh died in the Battle of 1813, and the Shawnee splintered. Pushmataha died in Washington, D.C. Oh boy, because he was that guy, right? While negotiating a land deal with the federal government and was buried. He was trying to give up some more land. HaWah said, nah, man. No more deals, man. No more treaties. No more treaties. Please, no more treaties. With the federal government. Was buried with military honors. The Choctaw later splintered, and some taking American citizenship and others being forcibly removed to Oklahoma. So it's almost like some had, at least the common Nagas had a choice to make. They said, hey, you want to rock with this Morris shield? You want to rock with these treaties? You want to rock with this destruction of the Hebrew people? Or just go through what you got to go through? And then some went through what they had to go through. So love to my Nagas and the Choctaw that went through what you had to go through because you didn't want to support the death and destruction of your own people no more. Or maybe you never did. The account of this debate in the Choctaw and Chickasaw Council gained a great deal of fame, but the accuracy of the details of these speeches cannot be certain. They were not recorded until the late 19th century and built an account on accounts from a Choctaw interpreter who was present at the meeting. The result is closer to a sympathetic Gilded Age interpretation of an oral tradition of the debate at the council than a reliable transcription of what was said. Yeah, we got a piece, but this is another piece. And, you know, Push Mataha's pleading against Tecumseh. Nor do I stand before you tonight to contradict the many facts alleged against the American people or to raise my voice against them in a useless accusation. The question before us now is not what wrongs they have inflicted upon our race, but what measures are best for us to adopt in regard to them. And maybe we should march, right? We got these type of leaders, right? And through our race may have been unjustly treated and shamefully wronged by them. Maybe we should work with the system. We got these type of leaders, right? Yet I shall not for that reason alone advise you to destroy them. No, don't destroy the hijack. White man, black man, unless it was just and expedient for you to do so. Nor would I advise you to forgive them, though worthy of your commiseration, unless I believe it would be to the interest of our common good. We should consult more in regard to our future. Let's have more meetings. We got these type of knowledge, right? What people, my friend and countrymen, were so unwise and inconsiderate as to engage in a war of their own accord when their own strength and even with the aid of others was judged unequal to the task. I well know causes often arise with force men to confront extremities, but my countrymen, those causes do not exist now. Not now. Remember, the American people are now friendly. Treaties of peace and friendship towards us. You now have no just cause to declare war against the American people because we have a treaty of peace and friendship. Or wreak your vengeance upon them as enemies since they have ever manifested feelings of friendship towards you. It is besides inconsistent with your national glory and with your honor as a people to violate your solemn treaties of friendship and peace, and a disgrace to the memory of your forefathers to wage war against the hijack, mere to gratify the malice of the English. Don't make them hate us more. Don't make them hate us more. It speaks for itself, Tecumseh saying. Unless every tribe unanimously combines, we got a tribe up. To give a check to the ambition and avarice of these hijacks, we gotta check their ass. They soon conquer us apart and disunited, and we will be driven away. If we don't unify, we're gonna be driven away from our native country and scattered, like the scriptures say, as autumn leaves before the wind, right to the four corners, right? But have we not courage enough remaining to defend our country and maintain our ancient independence because we're natural by law, Ahab to the Khan? Will we calmly suffer the white intruders, the hijacks, and tyrants to enslave us? Aren't we doing that? Ain't we practicing peaceful slavery to this day? Not dangerous freedom no more. Peaceful slavery. Shall it be said of our race that we knew not how to extricate ourselves to fight back from the three most to be dreaded calamities, folly, inactivity, and cowardness? Whoa, whoa, Tecumseh is up, man. No way are we going to give this up without a fight, is what Tecumseh is saying. But what need is three to speak of the past? It speaks for itself and asks, where today is the Piqua? Where is the Narragansetts? The Mohawks, where are you? Pokanakets, where are you? And many other once powerful tribes of our race. They have vanished. My Naga, you don't know who you are. Psalms 83, right? Let the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. My Naga, you gonna feel this shit. Prester John is about you, not some mythologies. Not all you got was factoids for hours and hours and hours about you. The priest kings right here at home. Prester John, the Presters, the Khans, the more war, the tribal war. Where are you now? They have vanished before the avarice and oppression of the hijack. As snow before the summer sun in the vain hope of alone defending their ancient possessions, they have fallen in the wars with the hijack. Look abroad over their once beautiful country. And what do you see now? Nah, but the ravages of the pale-faced destroyers meet your eyes. So it will be with you Choctaws and Chickasaws. Whoa. Soon your mighty forests, trees, mighty trees, my naga, mighty trees, Mount Roraima, right? They call them flat mountains now, right? Soon your mighty trees under the shade of whose wide-spreading branches you have played in infancy. You played under these branches, sported in boyhood, and now rest your wearied limbs After the fatigue of the chase will be cut down to fence in the land which the hijack dares to call their own. Now they want to build a wall. Trump wants to build a wall. Soon their broad roads will pass over the grave of their fathers, and the place of their rest will be blotted out forever. The annihilation of our race is at hand unless we unite in one common cause against the common foe. Think not, brave Choctaw Chickasaw, that you can remain passive. What? You can't remain passive. Ain't no such thing as peaceful slavery, man. Because they're going to keep destroying your peace every day because you chasing money. But you already got it, Khan. Say it with me. You already got it, Khan. And if you made it this far to the dismount and Prester 126, write down in the comments, I already got it, Khan. I already got it. Can't remain passive and indifferent. That means you don't care to the common danger because everyone's feeling this shit and thus escape the common fate. Your people too will soon be as falling leaves in scattering clouds before their blighting breath. You too will be driven away from your native land, natural by law and ancient domains. Really? You'll be driven out because you gave all this up in the treaties. You gave up dang near 100 million acres of land right away, man. Right away. Ancient domains. Papal Bull 1452. Take away their dominions. Subjugate, vanquish, capture. Recon the Papal Bull Doom Night verses 1492. About your ancient domains. Dominion. As leaves are driven before the wintry storm, sleep not longer, O Choctaw Chickasaw, in false security, because you don't want no false security, no vain security. You don't want no vain breath. That's rule number 2, no vanity on HaWah's name. You want fake ass security? You want fake breath? You want a fake breath of security? With security without your breath. Tecumseh trying to bring you back together to get the breath together. Without the breath, you got no security. Without the security, you got no breath. You got a delusive hope. Our broad dominions are fast escaping from our grasp. Every year, these hijacks become more greedy. Huh? Same people today, right? Exacting, oppressive, and overbearing. Con, martial law, what? King Alfred's playing who? Every year, contentions spring up between them and our people. When blood is shed, we have to make atonement. Day of Atonement, my nigga. Hebrew Khan, whether right or wrong, we gotta atone. We gotta take responsibility, accountability. At the cost of the lives, you're gonna come back weeping, says HaWah. You're gonna feel this shit. At the cost of the lives of our greatest chiefs, Presters, John, kings, queens, khans, and the yielding up of large tracts of our promised land. Before these hijacks came among us, we enjoyed the happiness of unbounded freedom and were acquainted with neither riches, wants, nor oppression. We were in the promised land. We were in paradise. How is it now? Wants and oppressions are our lot. Are you a homeborn slave? Is this your lot that HaWah gave you? You're supposed to be the head and not the tail, Deuteronomy 28. For are we not controlled in everything? Are we homeborn slaves? And dare we move without asking, with permission of the Pharaoh like them, by your leave? Are we not stripped day by day of the little that remains of our ancient liberty, our freedom? Let us by unity, tribing up, unify, which means you gotta have a code to unify around. Exodus 20 got us in code to unify. Nagas, blood, crip, GD or BD. Put the Most High first. Put MHOE, Most High over everything, and start right there. Let us by unity, let us love HaWah enough to stop murdering, keeping track, keeping score, keeping count on each other like this. This is demon time. That's not Most High over everything. We can all agree. We can all agree to unify. We are being decimated by them, and now we are decimating each other. But let us, by unity of action, destroy them all. Tecumseh ain't on no play. Say no play, my niggas. Which we now can do, or drive them back. So Tecumseh believes, push Mataha don't believe. Tecumseh knows he can drive them back where they come from. Tecumseh know he can push them back. War or extermination is now our only choice. What do you choose? What will you choose? Will you choose up? Will you choose to return? Will you choose to return? Because returning is a choice. Either way, Hawaii's gonna pop off. I mean, just like some of the Choctaw chose up in the Chickasaw and the Creek. Some of them had to go through all that removal situation, and others chose to be, citizens and be a part of the Morris Treaty, right? A part of the Harmonics, new tune of Hijack City. If you return, you choose to get in code with the Creator, then Managa, that activates something that we haven't had for many days. A priest con, a shepherd. In the end of days, right? Forever I will establish your seed, build up your throne. I have sworn unto David, my servant, my chosen. I have made a covenant. That we whom I will raise up unto them, Managa. I said we rising, whom I will raise up unto them. That we, because we serve the Creator first. We get back in code. Do you see clearly? We have a con. We have a covenant of peace, man. And our covenant of peace is forever. Forever, ever, ever, ever. With your children, I will make a covenant of peace. A covenant of shalom, not their treaties of peace, my nigga. No. The house of David don't fall under their covenant of peace. Tecumseh don't fall under their treaties of peace. Our covenant is not their Psalms 83, Confederacy against Israel. Our covenant is with the Creator. And the Creator has given us a shepherd. How many witnesses? Right here in Scripture in your face, Paul. Now we see how to apply the frequency that we all feel to serve the Creator only, to be the righteous flock, the righteous shoot, the righteous branch, whatever you want to call it, but the flock needs a shepherd. All you got to do is walk in HaWah's ways, his ordinances, observe the code, do the code, be the water, and you shall dwell in your land. How much land was taken away? How much land was taken away by treaties, by their covenant, by their treaties of peace? We got our own covenant of peace that comes with our own land. You see how they inverted everything? Repeated, hijacked, and stolen our ways, our law, twisted, syncretinized it, gutted it out. Verse 25, Ezekiel 37, and they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob. And this is why Jacob can't sell it, because it's not ours to sell. It's a gift from the Creator. It's not worth $1 million, $2 million to that. It's priceless. It's promised land. Joshua divided the land for the tribes. Moshe and them, wherein your fathers dwelled, and they shall dwell therein, they and their children's children forever. And David, my servant, shall be their Khan forever. Talking covenant of Shalawah. Wakanda Dawi. My sanctuary will be in the midst of them forever. I will establish them. It shall be an everlasting covenant, my naga. Everlasting covenant under David, the shepherd. My dwelling place also shall be over them, and I will be their power, and they shall be my people. I don't care whose other people they think they are my people. And the nations shall know, the hijack shall know that I am HaWah that sanctifies Hashrah. Sons and daughters of Jacob, when my sanctuary shall be in their midst, in the midst of them forever. Covenant of peace. Serve HaWah only, and the shepherd will be released forever, because the shepherd needs a flock. Who is Prester, child? We still got the fire burning. Managa, this is the 126th installment of the Prester John investigation. Halal HaWah, Khan up, Khans, tribe up, Shabbatah. Let it be Shalom forever. Let the fire keep burning. Managa. Dodge all hijacks at all costs, man. It's a race, man. It's a race to the victory. But don't trip, man. It's a marathon, Managa. Dodge these hijacks and keep the fire burning. This is the 126th installment, Managa. We've been dodging hijacks expertly for a long time. Keep the water flowing. Keep the fire burning. And keep the cold, Managa. For the babies, man. Stop killing for the babies. Stop killing each other for the babies, so they can live in a covenant of peace. You tried everything else. You tried Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, everything. What you ain't done as a community is kept the code, rested together on your Shabbat. No covetous towards your brothers, your sisters, your neighbors. No false witnessing on each other. No adultery on each other. Can we do it? No vanity, honoring our framing our shaper, mother, father. Can we be most high over everything again. One tribe, one shepherd, my nigga, one vibration. It felt good to take this journey through the unifying lens of the Say. Now we see that this invasion, no invasion. I mean, no invasion, my nigga. No invasion could last forever. No matter how much migrating they do, how many harmonics they put in place, how much thought spell barrier, how many rays of slave vibration they're letting out in their towers. No invasion is permanent. No migration is permanent. It's global warming time, man. Ice age is over. The ice is heating up. The dragons are rising. The frequency is rising. And this investigation, my naga, continues. The water, my naga. Drop Nation. The Wada. For taking the time with me to surf the wave 9 above the barrier. Flying high in air ether with a Khan. The water for recognizing the Khan in me as I recognize the Khan in all of you. We got much more to talk about. We could barely get this in 3 hours, but I tried to not go 4 hours. But we'll be back, man. Look out for the 127th installment as we continue the Wada Shalawah.